What's going on, everyone? Today is Thursday, June 22nd, 2023. Welcome back to Hit the Books, the premier sports gambling podcast where we bring you the latest news in the sports gambling world and to give you our opinions on how to bet it. I'm joined today by my fellow co-hosts Michael Mackey and Alex Ace Ventura. No Jesse behind the glass this week as he is out in the Bahamas. But, gentlemen, we have officially reached the dog days of sports as the NBA and NHL have come to a wrap. But first, I'll hand things off over to Mackey. Mackey, how have things been with you, brother?
Yeah, pretty good. No Jesse this week, so Huff's taking on a heavy load this week. Doing a pretty good job to start, so not much going on.
Ace, what's going on with you, my man? How are things up in the New England area?
Going well up here. It's getting hotter, but so are our picks on the MLB card. We've been crushing it as of late. I think we have like a 7-1 run going, something like that. And personally having some success on the diamond as well. So love to see that as we get into that dog days of summer, like you said, and ready to talk some sports and some off-season moves as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We have been doing really well on the MLB card. I know we were, Mackey, I think it was 7-1 in our last 8, and then last night we went 1-1. So is that 8-2 in our last 10?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Two straight days.
I just want to make sure I was correct on that.
With no unit movement.
I was going to say, yeah, we had the back-to-back days where we were hitting the minus play and then couldn't get the plus money play, and we were just having 1-1, no unit movement nights. But can't complain, I guess, about not losing. But we have been on a roll, like you said, 8-2 in our last 10. So I got 2 plays out tonight. I know the Braves are underway. I don't know what the score of that game is, but that game will be underway as we were recording tonight. Oh, it's delayed?
Yeah.
So this week we are going to do our top 3 segment. It is going to be on our top 3 MLB jerseys, current MLB jerseys. Ace had a good comment there. If it's current or all time, maybe we'll save all time for another segment here at some point. But top 3 current MLB jerseys, could be home, away, the City Connect, any of the alternates. Obviously, these teams have more than just 2 jerseys now. So any of the top 3 that you could see on any given day in the MLB. Anyone want to start?
Yeah, I could start. I got my 3 right here. Number 3, I'm gonna go the South Side with Chicago White Sox jerseys. Pretty dope. The pinstripes and the black behind it just looks pretty cool. And the South Side is pretty tough as well. Number 2, I'm gonna go the Yankees pinstripes just because of the meaning behind it and how authentic it is. Plus, I'm from New York, so it's pretty dope. And the number 1, I'm going to go the Texas Rangers, like aqua ones, I guess, like light blue.
Oh, yeah.
Those are pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. I think so, at least.
I didn't know where you were going with the Texas Rangers there, and then you said the aqua blue one. I knew exactly the uniform you're talking about. Those
are
you know
tough. What I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty tough.
I like that top. I like that top 3 because I love those White Sox jerseys. I obviously love the Yankees uniforms, as it was I believe it was in my top 3 uniforms of all time in all sports. So I feel like I don't know. I feel like I might have to leave that one out there. I don't know. Do I want to put it in my top 3 here and in my top 3 of all time? I don't know if I can do that.
You have to at that point.
I feel like I kind of have to. Yeah, like it's kind of my given one, but.
Mackie,
pinstripes are dope. Dude.
Mackie, I thought that I thought you were a Mets fan, so shouldn't you hate the Yankees?
No, I you know what? I'm from New York. You gotta root for the Yankees sometimes. Plus, it's way easier to go to Yankee games, so you gotta cheer for them sometimes. But yeah, obviously I'm a Mets fan. But Mets jerseys are, not a big fan of them.
Ace, neither of our cities have 2 teams. I feel like it's so like weird to live in a city that has 2 teams. Like I know I would like. You'd be a fan on one and talk shit on the other, but like a Mackey situation, if the Mets lose in the first round of the playoffs and the Yankees are in the World Series, like I'm partying outside Yankee Stadium if they win the World Series. Like I don't give a shit.
They're in 2 different leagues too. Like in the NHL, you're not going to root for the Devils or Islanders because they're in your division. We don't really clash with the Yankees, so I mean, why not root for them?
Yeah, that's a good point. But
like the Jets and Giants are kind of the same way.
Those Subway series get pretty heated though now.
Yeah, definitely. There's obviously still a big rivalry there. Yankee Stadium gets pretty rowdy, but I mean, more Mets fans like the Yankees, I think, than Yankee fans like the Mets. But it's just easier to hop on a Yankee bandwagon in New York.
Before I get into my top 3, just one quick anecdote. When I was at Yankee Stadium once, sitting there watching the game, I think they were playing like the Ichiro Mariners, and some guy starts trying to do the wave. This old Italian Yankee looking fan turns around, looks at him and says, "Go back to Shea." I was like, yep, that makes sense right there. And that's the difference between a Yankees and a Mets fan. But no, I don't know if that's too true, but I thought that was pretty funny.
No, that is pretty spot on.
Right. I'll jump into my 3 jerseys real quick. Coming at number 3, I'll go with a homer one. I'm going to go with those Red Sox red jerseys. Big fan of those. That red's very flashy. Kind of reminds me of Xander Bogaerts in them, but he's not really on the team anymore. So got to look to Devers to really turn the tide with those. But yeah, I got to love the red with the blue lettering. Coming in at 2, I'll go with those baby blue Cardinals jerseys. I don't know if you guys have seen those 2 recently, but those are pretty steez. I think the Cardinals have a cool logo too, with the bird on the jersey and writing out across the front. But the baby blue is definitely one of the top colors, in my opinion. And then coming in at number 1, I'm going to go with the Marlins again. I know I've done them on a different jersey rating before, but I'm going to go with the teal throwback that they're repping this year. It has that teal cap on top, pinstripes on the chest. I mean, just iconic. Reminds me of those Florida Marlins from like winning the World Series in 97, 03, years like that. But love seeing those, and especially with some of those young arms they have coming up nowadays.
Yeah, that's a solid one. I obviously, as soon as you said that Cardinals blue, when Mackey said the Rangers one, I was going to compare it to that Cardinals one.
Kind of the same thing, in my opinion. Same color scheme and everything.
Yeah, Cardinals are just iconic with like the little red bird sitting on the logo too. I mean, that's so clean. St. Louis, cool city too. A lot of cool players have gone there throughout our lives. Yadier Molina, who I idolized, and Albert Pujols as well. So definitely love those. But I thought the Marlins ones are just sick right now. Those are my favorite for sure.
Yeah, and that's definitely a solid top 3. And both you had ones that are in my top 3. My number 3 is the white Cardinals, just the normal home. I just like the all white with the Cardinals sitting on the bat, like Ace said. That's a classic logo. I love that one. Number 2 is going to be the white Dodgers. I love the Dodgers, the red, white, and blue. That's a classic. Obviously, that's never going to change for a reason. And then number 1 is going to be the pinstripe Yankees. Honorable mention, I do love the Pirates black jerseys. They were one of the best like away jerseys in the MLB. I think the black with the white pants. I love that look. But also Mackey, those Southsider Chicago White Sox jerseys, when they wear those with the black hat, black jersey, black pant, black cleats, everything, like there's no other team that has a uniform like that. And with the silver pinstripes, those are definitely some sick jerseys. So that's my top 3. 1 Yankees, 2 Dodgers, and 3 Cardinals. 3 just classic franchises. 3 uniforms that haven't changed very much, if anything, in the past however many years.
Huff, if the Buccos go back to those tall caps, you think they can crack your top 3?
The what do you mean, the pillboxes or you mean the round one?
Yeah, the one that came up higher, I thought.
Yeah. I don't know. I do like the yellow jersey that's hanging on my wall back there, that Pirate jersey, that they wore that for a couple years and then they kind of stopped with that. That was like the 70s and 80s, and then they brought that back as an alternate. I loved that one, but they don't wear it anymore. So that was always my favorite Pirate jersey. And I liked when the years that they did the black and red when we were like really young. They had like the black and red and yellow jerseys, but they kind of went away with the red. So but we might as well just jump right into our MLB notes for this week. And it has been announced that Rick Woodfield, the oldest professional ballpark in the United States and former home of the Birmingham Black Barons of the Negro Leagues, will host a regular season game between the Cardinals and Giants on June 20th, 2024. So next year, just under a year. Obviously, this is June 22nd, 21st when we're recording this. So just under a year away. 2 franchises on the up and up. Obviously, the Cardinals not where they want to be in the standings, but I think that'll be a pretty entertaining game. Where's this game at? Birmingham? Who put this in here? Does anyone know anything more about this?
Yeah, I put that in there. I mean, going to a classic site down in Alabama, obviously historic with the Negro Leagues and those games back in the day. But you got to think these Cardinals are excited for this next year of baseball they got ahead of them. Obviously, they aren't performing up to their standards, but we've talked about it before when they're playing the Cubs out in England, in London in a few weeks. And then 1 year later, they get to take on the Negro League Stadium as another historic site. So if I'm on that team, if I'm Goldschmidt, if I'm Nolan Gorman, Nolan Arenado, I'm hyped to be a Cardinal right now.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's definitely something to look forward to early on next year, or mid MLB season next year. So we'll get right into this next thing. We got Lance Lynn has set a White Sox record as he recorded 16 strikeouts on Sunday against the Seattle Mariners.
I mean,
He did that in a loss too.
how many innings did he
He
go?
lost?
Because that pitch count's got to go up.
He lost like 5-1.
That's a tough
If you got
scene.
16 Ks and you can't get some run support, I mean, they've been decent lately too. Like we've been taking the White Sox, and obviously the Mariners, they're kind of on the downhill slide this year. They're not having their best start to the season, but I mean, it's tough to lose a game when your pitcher gives you 16 Ks.
Well, the tough thing is, I mean, obviously it's exciting news because who expects Lance Lynn to be spinning the ball like that nowadays, especially as an older veteran? But Mackey and I touched on this a few weeks back, maybe even last week. That Mariners team strikes out at an astronomical rate. I mean, they're one of the highest teams in the league when it comes to strikeouts. Guys like Julio Rodriguez, Ty France, a lot of free swingers there. So not surprising that the White Sox record comes against this team.
Yeah, if it's gonna be a team to do it, it's gonna be the Mariners.
The Arizona Diamondbacks' stellar season is worth noting as they currently lead the NL West. Another notch to add to their belt is being the only team left that has not been shut out this season.
I mean, what an accomplishment. Mackey, we've had them on the card how many days in a row now? I did that segment on the breaking news on them. We were talking about them before they took the lead of the West, and they just keep winning games, and they find themselves down, and they still battle back. It's nuts.
I've been riding this Diamondbacks team since day one. They're so good, and the value on them, even still like today, like you can get them minus 110 against teams that are like 15 games under 500.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Corbin Carroll, obviously the spark plug for that offense in the 3-hole, but they've been getting good pitching and good production throughout the lineup. Ketel Marte, Perdomo, a few other bats, Christian Walker heating up. It's nice to see. And guys like, who do they have on the mound? They have Merrill Kelly, I believe, Zach Gallen. Guys pitching well this year.
They're minus 140 tomorrow against the Nationals.
That's crazy to me.
Like, that's just disrespect. I don't really care who's pitching.
It looks like we're already getting an early entry on our daily card. Sounds like it.
Yeah, that is a good point, because that was like kind of like Baltimore when Baltimore was on that run a couple of weeks ago. And Ace, I know you took them the other day against Tampa Bay. Would you get plus 150, something like that? So those teams, I'm not saying they're similar, but the Diamondbacks, those teams, if you find those teams that they're not necessarily given the right price, teams like the Diamondbacks, Orioles, if you ride those, I mean, all season you're going to be caking off this Diamondbacks team.
All these young,
I make up.
All these young,
I make up for the loss in some other places, but yeah, this team is definitely pretty profitable.
Yeah, we can always find a good team to blow a lead. Just ask my Padres the last couple nights. But it's so surprising with these Diamondbacks and these Orioles how disrespected they are on the books. But the odds makers must see these veteran teams that are leading divisions and have championships in their headlights. I mean, the Diamondbacks are taking out teams like the Padres and the Dodgers. Even the Giants were once a formidable squad. And then the Orioles, like you had said, Hoff, they're taking on teams like the Rays and the Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox. I mean, not easy, but they're getting the job done, and we just definitely have to ride the wave while we can.
Yeah, it is a long season. We can definitely. I mean, we're going to see them go on their losing streaks as well. It's a 162 game season. You're bound to go on a few losing streaks, but we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. And another team that's on the up and up is although the Cincinnati Reds youth movement has spurred their recent success, they have finally welcomed back a familiar face as longtime star Joey Votto has returned to the lineup. Can this team push for a playoff run, maybe even win the NL Central? They've rattled off, I think it's now 10 straight
11.
after today. 11 straight after today. So this team is rolling. I know I was talking to Jesse about getting a bet in on them to win the NL Central. I said that to you guys yesterday. If I can get anywhere around plus 400, I know I'm taking it. So I definitely have faith in this team, and team with a weak division. Like I said, I think this Cubs team is very good. I don't have much faith in this Brewers team, but I think the Pirates, like I said, they hit their peak. I said that a couple weeks ago. I think we saw the last of their success, their little fun that they had to start this season. But I think it's a two-man race right now between the Cubs, or a three-man race between the Cubs, Cardinals, and Reds. I think the Brewers and Pirates, there's no value there at all.
This Reds team's been all over our card as well. And you were talking about them winning that NL Central. They're already sitting atop that division with their 11th straight. And what's crazy is Hoff was at work and didn't get to get that one in on time. But he saw it and he's like, oh, the Reds are down. He goes, actually, don't worry. They've been coming back every game this series. And what they do again, erase the 2-0 deficit and ended up covering the run line as well, which is crazy to see. Another team that's disrespected on the odds. The only thing that I have to worry about when looking at that Central long shot future is, has this team played its best baseball? Obviously, the young stars haven't yet, but this pitching staff hasn't been too great. These comeback wins, that's tough to do night in and night out for 162 games. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on them, but they've been dynamite as of late.
Power rankings for the week of June 19th. We got the Rays at 1, Braves at 2, Orioles at 3, Diamondbacks at 4, and the Rangers at 5. Teams like the Giants, Marlins, and Angels knocking on the door.
It's crazy to hear those Marlins knocking on the door. I mean, they were supposed to be the doormat of the NL East, one of the most powerful divisions in the league coming into the season, but the underperforming Mets, underperforming Phillies kind of paved the way for them. Guys like Jorge Soler having resurgence down in Miami, MVP type candidate year. You'll see him in the All-Star game. We'll get to that in a bit, but I mean, they're going to be in there if they keep this up. That young pitching, like I said, but Diamondbacks, got to respect them leading the West. The Rays, we almost bounced them out of that top spot, but how do you? Look at that record. I mean, the sustained success is still there, and they had a good series against the Padres. I think they took that out in San Diego.
I'll tell you what, the Rays have been pretty safe the entire year in that one spot, and the Braves are really making a case at this point. Not enough yet to take it over, but I was pretty close to just thinking about it for a little.
I said the same thing. I said it when I sent them. I said I really want to put the Braves at 1. But like you said, the Rays have done nothing to prove that they're not still that top team.
What's crazy is these Braves, like, obviously we know they can smash the ball. They lose a guy like Sean Murphy, one of the best hitting catchers in the league. Travis Deonard steps up off the bench, fills that role completely. They have Marcell Ozuna. The depth is there. Matt Olson having a great campaign. But Ronald Acuna obviously playing great. But you go over to the pitching, and what's crazy is these young arms they've been terrific so far. They've called up guys like Dodd. They've called up Smith Shorver, who's starting today. Another one that's escaping my mind right now, but they've had a lot of youth coming into their staff, and they've been holding their own. So it kind of just breeds excellence going on this season, because they still have Strider, Fried, Soroka, and Morton. I mean, they have a lot of names on that team. Probably the best team in the NL, in my opinion, for sure. Obviously, obviously they're there.
I definitely agree. I think they're the best team in the NL. Guys, somebody commented on our tweet and said "fuck it" tailing, and posted a screenshot of Guardians -1.5 and Braves money line 119 to win 403.
Let's go.
It's fire.
I parlayed it too. Gotta rip it.
All right, I'll parlay it too. Shit, it started.
And mine's already in. Go to odds on that. But no, these rankings are heating up, and you're going to see a lot of fluctuation throughout the year in the MLB because of there's just the way the league is. Like Mackey said, long season, hot and cold. But teams like those Rays and Braves, they've been there every week, and they continue to be. Rangers, I have a feeling they're going to fall out. Diamondbacks, we're super high on them, but I think they're going to fall out. Orioles, yet to be seen. The door's not closed on them yet either. But the Astros are heating up. The Marlins are heating up. Phillies are starting to play a bit better baseball. The Yankees they got swept by the Sox. That kind of set them back, and they're getting pretty banged up. Tough scene, but a lot of these teams, I'll tell you what, there's no AL Central team cracking that list. Weakest division.
No shot.
Weakest division.
We gave the Twins a chance at the beginning when we first started with the first week or first 2 weeks, but
did we have the Twins on there?
We had them in the 5 spot, and then I think we realized it was a bad decision right away.
You know, you call that.
Look at our Instagram.
They were probably like 26-19. They were 5 games over. They were leading a division.
Sonny Gray was pitching at a Cy Young level. Joe Ryan was lights out. I mean, they have the pieces to be good, but that division's the weakest in baseball, and everybody's kind of flatlining.
Yeah, the first one. First one was Rays at 1, Dodgers at 2, Braves at 3, Rangers at 4, Twins at 5.
Dodgers at 2. They're not even sniffing anymore.
No, they could get back into that race. I wouldn't be surprised if a month from now or towards the All-Star break.
Not right. I don't know.
They're not that far behind though.
I don't think they're top 10 right now in the power rankings.
Yeah, but they're so banged up. Guys like Julio Urias and Dustin May, who are like cornerstones of their staff, are out and they're lights out. I believe Max Muncy's hurt as well. They get healthy, they'll be good. Clayton Kershaw is pitching at an elite level. That's great to see. I don't know if you've been following that at all.
Yeah, definitely. But they're just not as good as they've been in the past years.
My opinion, one team that can skyrocket up these rankings, and we've had them on the card a lot lately as well, as those Angels. I think Mackey had a stat the other day when we were talking about taking them. They were like 10-2 in their last 12 or something crazy like that. But Ohtani's playing the best baseball in the league. MVP candidate, both pitching and hitting. He's up to the home run lead as well. It seems like he hits one every night. Last week we were looking at plus 340 to win the home run title. But I'd keep my eyes on them and the Astros. I think they're going to rise soon. All right, so let's shift our gears over to the All-Star game a bit. As we know, voting ends tomorrow night, so we definitely want to get our Hit the Books voice in there for the MLB. I've seen a lot of these Blue Jays fans kind of stuffing the ballot box and getting guys like Kevin Kiermaier and Dalton Varsho up there undeservedly. So we definitely want to make our picks here. We'll let you guys listen along as we go through. I'll start off with the first basemen here. You guys just want to throw out some that you've been thinking that have been on the rise this season. I know in the AL, guys like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. come to mind, Anthony Rizzo, Andrew Vaughn playing well. If I had to look, I'd say Vladdy, even though he's not playing good like his best baseball, he's still playing solid for not anybody else.
And it's one of the guys that you just now want to see in the All-Star game. I'd probably go the same pick, him or Rizzo.
Yeah, I'm huge on the star power. I think Rizzo's a great pick as well, but I have another Yankee down the line who I think is going to crack my starting lineup, even though he's injured. But we'll jump over to the NL with our first base pick. I think this one's a bit easier. Matt Olson and Freddie Freeman both playing great baseball. I mean, Freddie Freeman batting above 320 with 13 home runs and 46 RBIs. And meanwhile, Matt Olson has 21 home runs and 52 RBIs. That's pretty nuts. But Mackey, I lean with you on Freddie there.
Yeah, I definitely lean Freddie. Matt Olson's not a bad pick though if you're gonna go that route.
He's gonna be coming off the bench, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him there on All-Star Game weekend, possibly in the home run derby. Either way. Jumping down to second base a bit. This is a tough position. Not too many. This is one of the lighter positions of the league. Not too deep. My pick is definitely. I wonder if you guys have anybody off the top of your head for the AL, because I know who the clear-cut favorite is.
I don't know. Me not knowing the clear-cut favorite, I have Brandon Lowe in fantasy. I'd probably go with him. He's been a stud for me in fantasy.
Yeah, you'd think Altuve too. The leader, Marcus Semien. Remember that 27-game hit streak he had?
Marcus Semien?
Yeah.
Dude, he is raking right now.
I forgot
Absolutely
he's from Texas,
having a season.
Batting .277 with 10 home runs and 54 RBIs. He could be the reason, one of the main reasons that they're consistently in our top 5 power rankings.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll throw our vote there. Going over to the NL, I'll give you. I feel like this one should be pretty easy. Pretty similar
Luis
to
Arias.
Yeah, there it is, Mackey. You got it right on.
I mean, he's batting .400. He has to be the starter in the All-Star game.
Yeah, hit the nail on the head. I agree with you. Who else is batting even close to that? Nobody. So tough to see for guys like Nolan Gorman having a good campaign. Jumping down to third base, I already know who I'd pick personally.
I'm an Albies guy. I like Albies too, but
Ozzy
he's definitely Arias.
Yeah, those guys are going to be these guys we're talking about are going to be pressing for those last vote and bench spots, but Lou is going to get the start, I think, batting close to 400 or just above it. Jumping down to third base now for the AL. Any names jump out to you guys that you would think about here?
Maybe Matt Chapman. I don't know. Is he even having that good of a season though?
He's been
playing
good.
all right.
He's been
playing
270,
all right.
10 home runs, 35 RBIs.
270. I mean, you can't complain with 270. I mean, he's getting the job done.
Meanwhile, my pick would be a homer one in your opinion, but 17 home runs, 57 RBIs. My guy Rafael Devers definitely deserves to start there, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm a Rafi guy. I like Devers.
But
I was
however,
thinking he's on third base.
One guy that you got to keep in mind, Jose Ramirez, always that guy. He's batting almost 290 with 11 home runs and 45 RBIs. Definitely a valid candidate to get the start on that corner. I'm going to go with Devers there, though, for sure. And then on the National League side, I know who I'd go with. I bet on him today, and they let us down. But he'd probably be my pick out in the NL.
No. Yeah, they fucked us today. He hit a hit, Arenado, you going with?
Exactly. 15 home runs, 50 RBIs, batting 275, Huff. I mean, how do you not? But tough game.
He's on my fantasy team.
Yeah, he's good. He's perennial all-star.
They put up a fucking donut against the Nationals.
Yeah, which is crazy. They had so many chances.
The weather was so bad. That was like, you could tell it was affecting them.
Miles Mikolas pitched and Trevor Williams pitched for the Nats.
Trevor Williams had a shutout.
Yep. Against the Cardinals. But jumping down to the shortstop position here, I know who everybody's going to pick, but I want to give an honorable mention to Wander Franco and Bobby Witt Jr., two young guys, like low 20s, having great campaigns. But in my opinion, it's got to be Bo Bichette. Over 100 hits.
Bo's having an incredible season. He's up there with Luis Arias with 100 hits already.
Yep.
Absolutely raking the ball, and he's a pretty sound defensive shortstop.
Yeah, underperforming Blue Jays team in my opinion, but he's always stepping up to the plate. Currently sitting at 317 with 14 homers and 46 ribbies. I mean, that's craziness. Jumping to the shortstop side in the NL, it's a bit tougher. Mackey, guys like Francisco Lindor and Xander Bogaerts underperforming, Trey Turner as well. But I feel like one of the stars has to gain that spot.
Lindor's stats aren't that bad. He's third in the NL in RBIs. His problem is he's batting .216.
Yeah.
It's either strikeout or he gets up in a good situation and he actually comes through. He's a pretty clutch player. But there's definitely guys that are having better campaigns this season than Lindor, batting .216. Bogart's having I would say he's having a bit of a disappointing season to start his campaign in San Diego.
Injury riddled for sure.
Yeah, that whole entire lineup is just underperforming. I don't know. They got to figure something out. But who would you go with the starting shortstop here?
In my own bracket, I went with Dansby Swanson. Give those Chicago Cubs a shout out. But he's only batting .260, 31 RBIs.
He's not having the year that he should be having.
No one is on that position. Matt McLean, very interesting shortstop, but he's not going to make it. And he's only had half to really make a name for himself. I guess we can go with your boy Lindor here. Orlando Arcia, obviously not a bad pick either. He's batting .341 with 6 homers and 25 RBIs. And how do you not give the Braves more all-stars, right? But I'm going to give the nod to Lindor just for the power he's supplying with 14 homers and 51 RBIs.
Yeah, the RBIs are definitely carrying him this season, but I think he'll pick up this slump at the plate.
All right, easy position here. AL catcher.
Adley.
Yeah. Who else?
Yeah, definitely.
Who else are you even thinking about here? Cal Raleigh playing well, but a few other guys we'll give a shout out to.
Sal Perez isn't playing too bad, but the Royals are terrible.
Yeah, he's actually playing pretty well, especially for a catcher. Big disappointing season from Alejandro Kirk, but Adley Rutschman, the face of catchers now and probably for the next decade, reminds me of like a young Buster Posey the way he's jumping onto the scene. Shifting over to the NL here, again, another tough pick. My favorite guy is Sean Murphy. I've been high on him all year, batting .290, 12 homers, 42 RBIs, but he's been injured of late.
Will Smith, maybe?
A lot of people
I like Will
love
Smith on the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I mean, he bats. He's a good bat. I mean, his defensive play isn't the best. I think there's definitely guys out there that are better than him. But his appearance at the plates are just so valuable. And that's hard to come by for a catcher. You don't see it often.
Agreed. And he bats right in the heart of that Dodgers lineup. He's been a mainstay. Even during those World Series runs, remember how effective he was? Still to this day. Jumping down into the outfield now for the American League. I'm eager to hear some names you guys just have just off the top of your head. No list here.
Just off the top of my head, I'm definitely going to be missing guys. But I'm going to go Louis Robert. I don't even know how you would say his first name. Trout. And I don't know if you can throw Judge in there, but he's missed too many games. But look at his stats still. I mean, he deserves it. Who am I missing? Who do you guys think?
One that comes to mind is me.
I like Jordan.
Yeah, a lot of people like him, but again, that injury problem. Same with Judge. I think if there's a last spot between
You can DH Jordan.
No, you're DHing the MVP.
Okay, yeah.
But one name you guys are forgetting, Randy Rosarina, playing great on the best team in baseball.
I have him picked as one of my 3 right now.
I think he starts. My picks were Trout, Rosarina, and Judge, but you can't go wrong with Jordan either. He's one of the best players in baseball. Just the injuries just concern me.
I think Robert's batting like 338. He's having a pretty good season.
Yeah, no, he definitely is. But I just think the way that the voting works too. I mean, yeah, Louis Robert batting 260 with 18 homers and 38 RBIs. Julio Rodriguez not living up to standards in my opinion. Mike Trout though, 15 home runs, 40 RBIs, pretty similar to Louis Robert. Masataka Yoshida gonna get overlooked for sure, but he's having a great season for the Red Sox, worth every penny. And people thought he was overpaid coming over from Japan, but he's batting 310 with 8 homers, 40 RBIs. Just about Verdugo as well. Tough scene. They're not going to make it. I'm going to go with Trout. I'm going to go with Rosarina, and I'm going to go with Judge. Unless you want to go Jordan over Trout here.
Adolis Garcia has pretty good campaign himself too.
Yeah, big strikeout guy, big home run guy. He's an all or nothing like Lindor.
You got the most RBIs in the AL though, so
that is crazy.
He comes up clutch.
Yeah, he'll definitely make the team. All those we mentioned. I'm gonna go with Mackey's decision here. I'm gonna take out Mike Trout. I'm gonna go Jordan Alvarez, Aaron Judge, and Randy Rosarina. I think that's a good trio. Those guys have been playing great. Their teams are playing well.
Sucks because 2 of those guys aren't even in the lineups right now,
which is crazy, right? And they haven't been out too long.
No.
Jump over the.
No, I'm not. I agree with your picks. I'm just saying it sucks that they're.
Yeah, they probably won't be able to play in it. Hopefully, they're back by then. But jumping over to the NL, this one's pretty easy. Who's the first ballot NL All-Star Game guy? He's leading the whole All-Star Game in votes already. Either?
I don't know.
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Ronald Acuna, that I should have known that. Ronald Acuna.
Batting 327 with 15
Corbin
home runs,
Carroll.
46 RBIs. Yep, Corbin Carroll locked Rookie of the Year. Also batting about 300, 16 and 40. My third pick would probably go to Mookie Betts, kind of a homer pick. You could probably pick someone who's having a better campaign, but I feel like you can't really miss there. Any other third outfielder come to mind for you guys besides Mookie? You got Tatis right there as well. Tatis hitting 290 with 15 homers and 35 RBIs.
Dude, he's just so athletic watching him play. Like he can steal a bag at any point.
That's my last pick right there. It's gotta be Fernando Tatis. In a shortened season with the numbers he's put up is insane. And while the Padres themselves have been underwhelming, he has not been. He's done everything in his power to make that team what it is. So that's our All-Star Game picks for this year from Hit the Books. I mean,
starting pitchers.
I don't have those votes on mine.
Yeah, I don't have the votes for that.
Think?
But just if you were to go, I'd go with Spencer Strider, or Marcus Stroman.
Strider's just been getting lit up recently. He had a good game the other day, but 2 games before he go like 14 earned runs in two games.
Up your buddy Mitch Keller as well, having a great campaign, but it's the NL one's got to be Marcus Stroman, in my opinion.
I would agree with that.
And then coming,
like his last 7 games, he's been absolutely out of his mind.
He's the best ERA in baseball.
Yeah,
it's in a 2.28.
No, he doesn't. Shane McClanahan does.
Oh, in the NL, I must say, my bad.
Yeah, and then Framber has 2.27 and Stroman's 2.28.
I feel like McClanahan's the easy choice to open up for the AL, right?
Yeah, or Framber. Him and Framber are both having insane
I love
seasons.
Framber Valdez, but I think it's gonna be McClanahan.
Yeah, he's been the first to every big achievement.
And he's in the best team in the league.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's another name we forgot to mention. Yandy Diaz from the Tampa Bay Rays probably going to get a look into the All-Star Game as well. But Wander Franco, you got to think some of these guys from the Braves and Rays are going to jump the scene with just the way their team's been playing. But like I said, those are our All-Star Game picks. Definitely make your voice heard if you can tomorrow before the voting closes. Then we'll have the last vote. Exciting time as well. When the last vote comes out, we'll definitely get you that info as well. So, yeah, looking forward to this All-Star Game in just over a month.
Absolutely, and we will shift things over to the NFL, where Tyreek Hill recently stated that he wants to break the record this season as he has his eyes set on 2,000-plus yard total in the upcoming Dolphins season. In such a tough division and with so many questions about the quarterback, can he get it done in Mike McDaniel's offense? Side note, Tyreek Hill is under investigation for battery and assault at some, I forget where it was, I forget where it was. It was some public place, but we'll see what happens with that. But back to the first question, Mackey, it doesn't seem like you think he can get it done with Tua under center.
Well, first of all, you can't get a 2,000-yard season with a 6-game suspension, so he's got to deal with his legal charges first, and then he can talk about a 2,000-yard season. Second of all, this is just another player talking out of their ass for the season, buying to me. You're not going to have 2,000 yards, bro. Justin Jefferson didn't even do that last year. And you're not going to have a better season than him, especially with Tua. And they have too many weapons for you to be.
I was waiting for someone to say they have too many weapons. Like, you got to get the Jalen Waddle the ball, Gesicki the ball.
I think
when they get down the
yards, I think he'll have a really good season, but I don't think he'll be having 2,000 yards this season. No chance.
You guys remember when he said he's
2,000 yards for a receiver is insane.
Not with the extra game added in the Huff. That's the thing you got to remember. The other thing is
true.
We have to just hope Tua Tagovailoa stays healthy. Obviously, the assault charges, battery charges, like, you got to be on the field, Tyreek. Like, what are you doing? In trouble again? You didn't learn your lesson the first time with your child. Hate to see it, but could be a huge blow to a team with lofty expectations coming in this season, as he's their best player on that side of the ball. But I do think it could be possible if Tua can stay healthy, the way Mike McDaniels funnels the ball to his receivers. If you saw the way that Tua was playing with Tyreek, when they were both healthy and in their full swing, he would get like 13 catches a game. You guys remember I was riding that over on his reception prop every week? I mean, when in his rack also, you give him just a short slant, he's taking it to the house and he's just chewing up yardage.
I mean, yeah, he's that kind of player, but
Tua already has CTE. He's not playing a full season.
That's all speculation. We got to hope for the best, though. If Tua, pending Tua's health, if Tua plays a full season, I bet you he can do it, because their run game is essentially the drag or slant route to Tyreek Hill.
I like the optimism.
2,000 yards. You think Tyreek Hill 2,000 yards this year, fully healthy, no legal charges. He plays all 17 games.
If Tua plays every game, yes.
If everything works out perfectly, then he's saying yes. Tyreek can maybe get 2,000 yards.
Injury free for his quarterback and himself.
We're having Jesse clip this. This is gonna be on the video. So
that Dolphins team, I think they're the best team in the division actually on paper. So, but we'll see. Obviously, football's
on
not
paper.
Definitely not those stinky Patriots.
Football's not played on paper. Oh, the Patriots aren't too bad. We'll see, Mackey. We'll see.
Patriots just lost their star corner.
No, their star corner was picked in the draft this year in the first round.
Oh, he's already jumping ship. He's already off the Jack Jones parade.
No, I like Jack Jones a lot, but Christian Gonzalez is supposed to be like him.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And after suffering a grueling injury to cut his season short following his Super Bowl MVP, wide receiver Cooper Kupp has returned to the practice field and looks ready to go for the new campaign. Does his return stoke any fire of hopes for an LA team coming off a rough Super Bowl hangover?
I'm gonna answer like Mackey did. No.
Yeah, I just don't think that they have anything left to get back to where they were, meaning like championship contenders. I can see Cooper Kupp having another stellar season, but I just don't think the team itself can get there, especially in that division that the Niners absolutely took over.
How much does it suck that Cooper Kupp plays on the LA Rams, the shitty LA Rams now?
Yeah, Matt Stafford just loves his all-time wide receivers.
I think the Rams just re-signed Sony Michel, so they're running it back. They're bringing the gang back from the Super Bowl.
They're trying the same exact recipe twice.
Is Matt Stafford's arm still on his shoulder? I think that's more of a question than Cooper Kupp returning from a terrible leg injury.
Well, you have to rely on it because they have $500 million invested in him.
Here's a better question, I think, about this Cooper Kupp topic, though. Can he return to form? He was considered top receiver over Devontae Adams in his Super Bowl MVP campaign, if not number 2 in the NFL. Do you think he can even return to top 5 status in the NFL?
I think he can return to top 1.
Really?
Even last year when he played, he was still the best receiver in the league.
Well,
I genuinely believe that.
I think Jefferson and Jamar Chase took steps forward while he was out, and they're getting better and haven't hit their peak yet. And I would just think maybe this injury, and Cooper Kupp's not young. Let's not forget that. He's got to be knocked down a few pegs. I mean, I think Jamar and Justin got to be ahead of him.
Right now, no, yeah. I mean, you're sitting 90% of a season out, but so you can't put him at 1 right now. But I think that I would not count him out at all. I think he's going to be slept on a little. People are going to forget what he did literally not even like a year ago.
Yeah, agreed. I think he can slot back into probably like the 4th best receiver at best, but I think it might be a little bit of a slower progression, more so because of the team around him, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's kind of just happy with the situation. I mean, obviously he's coming off an injury, but living in LA, he's on the max deal or whatever, all the money he got his Super Bowl MVP. Like, I would be like, this guy's got to get out of LA and go get a ring and go get on a team that's a contender because he's too good to be on a bad team. But I mean, I think he got everything he was looking for. Now he's just happy to live in LA and play on the Rams, I feel like.
He's a target hog, too, though. Think about him playing. What would he see, like 14 targets a game? All in the
and it's not
his red zone.
And
looks,
it's not a good division.
His red zone.
Like,
looks?
other than the 49ers, like, I mean, the Seahawks aren't the easiest place to play in, but like,
they're not good.
You get to play the Cardinals twice a year. You get to play the Seahawks twice a year. I mean, it's a divisional battle. Like, the 49ers slip up games all the time. And usually when you slip up games, it's inside your division. So, like, if you can go 1-1 against the 49ers, there's a good chance you can go 3-1 against the Seahawks and Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm eager to see if Sean McVay really is as good of a head coach as everybody dubbed him to be after that Super Bowl win. It's a lot more telling when the chips are stacked against you than when everything's going well.
Absolutely. All right. And now that we are in the full swing of the NFL offseason, we're going to start to take a look at positional rankings going into this coming season. Today, we're going to hear everyone's top 5 quarterbacks heading into training camp.
I'll definitely get us started off here. I put this question in. I've started this segment for the summer. Excited to get into it, have some good debate going. I think we're all going to be consensus on the number 1 pick for quarterback, but from there it gets a little shaky. I'd like to shout out some of my Philly boys for having this pre-pod conversation with me because they really got my wheels going on Jalen Hurts, who I'm not as high on. But I'll start 5-1. I'll give an honorable mention to someone who could be an X factor and even jump as high as number 2 after this season, Trevor Lawrence. He's going to be outside of this top 5, but he has the potential and the ceiling to go above Joe Burrow, in my opinion, and get below Patrick Mahomes. But I'll jump right into it right here. Coming in at 5 after a great campaign with the Philadelphia Eagles, great team around him, great college career. I'm going to go with Jalen Hurts. I mean, he fits balls in tight windows. He runs that read option. He plays perfectly in the Nick Sirianni's offense. What more do you want from this guy? A lot of people have him higher up on his chart, but I think he might not be as high if he weren't on a great team, but I think still 5 is a very good number for a young quarterback there. Coming in at 4, a lot of people might hate this take, but I'm going to go with Lamar Jackson. I still think he's one of the most explosive, tough to cover offensive options in the league at quarterback, and he's one of the toughest guys to game plan against. I think he has the ability to beat almost anybody with his legs, and his arms getting better, and his weapons are too. Great coach up there in Baltimore as well. 3-1, don't need too much talk. I'm going to go Josh Allen. I know the turnovers are high. I know the playoff losses hurt, but he's still the 3rd best quarterback in the league. They're in their own league here, 2 and 3. Joe Burrow at number 2, who beats up on Josh Allen. He's the next Tom Brady-esque type quarterback. And what else more do you want from Joe Burrow? Joe Cool. I mean, he's had a great career so far, and I expect a lot more. I expect him to make some more Super Bowls as well. And then number 1, obviously, the man, Patrick Mahomes. What else more is there to say? If you want to jump in here.
Yes, so I'll give you my top 5, and then I have a question for you at the end. So my 5 is going to be Trevor Lawrence. I'm going to put him there at number 5. I understand the spot of him sliding in. You think that in the future he could be obviously number 2, 3, obviously right there next to Burrow, Mahomes, however you want to put it. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence at 5. Number 4, I'm going to go Justin Herbert. I like Justin Herbert as a quarterback. Definitely a guy that I'd want under center for my team. Hasn't had the best success in LA. Obviously, we know their playoff success, but I think most of that, I was talking to a buddy the other day, I think most of that is more due to their idiot head coach, Brandon Staley. I think he's one of the 3 worst head coaches in the NFL and not setting Justin Herbert up for success. So I think Justin Herbert's at number 4. just off pure base talent. And then number 3, I have the same top 3 as Ace. Allen 3, Burrow 2, Mahomes 1 for all the reasons Ace said. Not really much else to it. But Ace, if Trevor Lawrence was on the Eagles last year, do you think they win the Super Bowl?
It's funny
with that lead that they had.
It's funny you say that because I said this yesterday about Trevor Lawrence. I was saying, would you rather have Trevor Lawrence than Jalen Hurts? My buddy who's an Eagles fan. No way. How do you say no to that? I mean,
I was gonna say, dude, I think if he's on that Eagles team, like he already has a ring.
I don't know if they win the ranks, so I think Patrick Mahomes sons them because Patrick Mahomes. I mean, yeah,
it's hard to be like, you know what I mean, but they had that lead at what was it? What were they up at halftime? Like I think it was 10 or 13, and then
it was
but Mahomes was getting the ball back. So like, there's a huge what if, but I don't know. I think I'm definitely taking Trevor Lawrence over Jalen Hurts.
It's crazy to say because people have Jalen Hurts pegged as number 2 or 3 coming into this year, MVP candidate and all that. I think it's more so a product of the team around him, but this is a good point that my Philly friends did have about Jalen Hurts. I mean, if you look at skills and all of these off the field things, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, they're all better skilled than Jalen Hurts, but if you look at playing the quarterback position, Jalen Hurts is a better decision maker than them, and he plays the game the right way, and he's winning football games, so tough to argue with that. Just something to throw out there.
Every quarterback I named is in the AFC.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it makes sense. Wait, you didn't say Jalen Hurts?
I didn't put him in my top 5. He's probably 6.
You had Herbert at 4. I thought about going with Herbert.
I genuinely, I cannot understand Herbert. I just can't. He's never done anything to do and to prove.
I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm telling you.
Has Josh Allen?
Yeah, I think, he's won playoff games.
Dude, I'm telling you, Herbert's situation is more of a... Justin Herbert they needed to just tie, and they would have kicked the Steelers out of the playoffs, and Brandon Staley called a timeout, and the Raiders kicked a field goal for no reason to kick them out of the playoffs. That is not Justin Herbert's fault.
I agree with Huff. I think it's the coaching staff. Someone was saying this to me yesterday. They thought
that is so asinine. That is actually crazy. You're not blaming a starting quarterback for not winning back-to-back seasons. He had a 33-point lead this year, and you still lost.
My buddy said that. And that's a good point.
Anything. You do one thing right in the second half, and you are winning a playoff game. Yet you didn't, and then you lose to Derek Carr and the fucking Raiders the year before when you're 10 times better. You guys probably had top 5 odds to win the Super Bowl, and you lose to Derek Carr in a winner-go-home game.
Yeah, I agree with Mackey there. That's a good point.
Then you brought a 33-point lead.
That's why Herbert didn't crack my top 5. But that's a good point. Like, if you're any good at quarterback, shouldn't you be able to at least control that
win games?
That's such a big lead at halftime. But I agree with Huff here. I'm going to stick this one on the coach. The tape is not out on Herbert. Herbert has the potential to jump Josh Allen, I think, for that 3.
Dude, Brandon Staley's
if he can win,
top 3 worst head coach in the NFL.
Agreed. But if Justin Herbert could win football games, he could be top 3 definitely. But he can't. So you cannot put him in that conversation yet.
He had that bang.
But I'm going to rattle.
He was hurt a lot last year too.
I'm just going to rattle off my top 5 real quick. We all have the same top 3. I think it's pretty consensus. I don't think that should even be a question. So it's really just a 4 and 5 spot. 4, I am going to go Jalen Hurts, just because he got there. He got to the Super Bowl. He got an MVP. He had a 14-3 season. He did everything that he needed to do. And if we're talking about best quarterbacks in the league right now, he's definitely 4, in my opinion. 5, I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence as well. I would give it to Lamar, but he's just the injuries and the inconsistencies. I just can't put him there at this moment. But I don't really buy into Trevor Lawrence as much as all you guys do. He had a good end of the season last season. Yeah, into the playoffs with a 9-8 record, I think, or maybe it was 10-7. But I just wouldn't jump the gun on him quite yet. I think saying that he could be better than Joe Burrow is kind of crazy. At least
half
at
of
this
it's how
point.
big he is. Half of it's truly how big he is.
I understand the potential. I understand the ceiling, but what Joe Burrow has done in his ceiling.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't say
I know
Burrow. Yeah,
Mackey,
what he's already proved. Ace, I'm not saying that you couldn't be right. This could be a good take because a lot of people and a lot of analysts.
No, I didn't have him in top 5.
What? No, because you had Lamar and like.
Oh yeah,
which I get the Lamar case, but I saying that he can have a higher ceiling than Joe Burrow at this point in both of their careers is I just don't see it. I don't see how that could.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing my buddy told me, this is a good point to bring up. So you remember Joe Burrow before the Super Bowl run year, after his rookie year, people were like high on him. They thought he was going to be good, but they weren't like super high on him. They didn't know how,
because he tore his ACL his first season.
Yeah, but after it took him 3 years to get his third year, he got to the Super Bowl.
No, his second.
Or his second, but right before
the year of the ACL.
Yeah, so but going to that year though, he wasn't projected to be like number 2 right behind Pat Mahomes. You know, like Josh Allen had that spot pretty clear cut. Trevor Lawrence kind of out of that top 5. I agree with you. He's like 6 or 7 for me. He's sitting right there. The stars aligned for Joe Burrow in that Super Bowl run. Everything came together, and I think this season could be the same thing for Trevor Lawrence. The stars are going to align. I think you have Calvin Ridley, you have Travis Etienne. You have Christian Kirk, you have Zay Jones, you have Evan Engram. And you want to know what's crazy? Those sound like good names on paper, but those guys did nothing before they played with Trevor Lawrence. And look at what he turned them into in his first NFL season. I'm not counting the Urban Meyer year. That was Trevor Lawrence's rookie year right there. And I think that they can turn it up a lot more. I think he has the potential to jump up to, Joe Burrow is tough to say he goes ahead of him, but to that 2 to 4 category, that second tier of quarterbacks just below Mahomes.
Everything Ace just said is how I feel about the Steelers and Kenny Pickett, but not to that degree that he's going to be number 2 in the league.
Come on.
You didn't hear the end of it. I said to the extent that he's not going to be number 2 or even top 5 in the league this year.
No, but he could jump from 23 to like 14,
12.
If
he could arguably be a top 10 quarterback by the end of next season. That's my hot take.
I don't agree.
Okay, no, that's possible. I don't think that will ever happen, but that's definitely realistic. Like if he rattles off 11, 12 wins this season and he wins that division, yeah, definitely he'll be thought about as a top 10 quarterback.
How good will his numbers have to be?
The numbers.
How good will his numbers have to be for you to not say it's a product of the team around them though?
I'd say like 32 touchdowns, was under 15 interceptions, and a 11-12 win season.
I agree. I think Mac, you know, what's interesting?
It's when you're like optimistic about it. It's a lot to ask, and especially with a Steelers team that isn't the best.
It's just every quarterback's done it in their second year, so like I have every reason to be.
You think though that's more of a recent trend. History shows that the sophomore slump hits quarterbacks hard. Look at Jalen Hurts.
I was gonna say Jalen Hurts.
I don't know.
Look at a lot of history. Not everybody's a Joe Burrow or Mahomes, but one thing I was going back to Trevor Lawrence real quick, Mackie. I think his floor is Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence.
I wouldn't say that's a bad take. I wouldn't, but you can't really say that about Dak, who's like in the middle of his career right now. You never know what the next 7 years of his career could look like.
Well, I was gonna say
Trevor Lawrence already has a playoff win. I think Dak has 2 in his career, so
he's halfway there.
Yeah, I guess that's fair to say.
Yeah, just from like a play style perspective, in my opinion.
But in my opinion, like you'd have to rattle off a bunch of winning seasons. Dak doesn't have losing records.
Yeah, no, he's a solid quarterback. He's a fringe perennial Pro Bowler. He's always in that conversation.
Yeah, I'd say he's sitting around 8.
Dak?
Maybe not, maybe 9.
Yeah, you know who gets criminally underrated by all 3 of us right here is Aaron Rodgers. Rightfully so after his missing the playoffs, but he's still good.
I almost put him in my 5.
Surprised you didn't put Deshaun Watson there.
Oh, he has the potential to be there. He shows up 3-0 with 3 straight games. He's a top 5 quarterback in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, another guy that's looking to make that jump. I don't think he's going to get there, but a lot of people are putting him up there. One of the more overhyped quarterbacks coming in the year is Justin Fields, sitting in the low single digits.
Did you just say you're not high on him?
No, I'm not high on him to be in the top 5.
Oh.
I think he can play up to like the 9 through 12 range, but people are pegging him way too high. Last year you were saying he wasn't an NFL quarterback, wasn't a starter. Like
I think he's a top 4 running back in the league.
Yeah. Lamar Jackson's in the top 2 and he's not 2. But no,
Lamar Jackson throws the ball.
Justin Fields, regardless of how he plays the game, I feel like he's at least in the top. People are if you looked at the rankings going this year, though, people have him at like 8, dude. I think he's probably between 12 and 15.
He won 3 games last year.
Yeah,
I don't care what team you have.
No, yeah, I agree. But if you looked at rankings, people have him way too high going into this year, and for what?
Potential.
Yeah,
ceiling.
true.
Yeah, but I think
he has high ceiling.
I think his ceiling isn't top 5 though. Like Lawrence's ceiling outweighs his heavily. I think Fields' ceiling is like under Herbert still.
I think his ceiling is definitely top 5. He can crack top 5 in his ceiling.
He could do what Hurts did.
What about a healthy Tua Tagovailoa?
No.
Pre any concussions, yeah, definitely. I just don't think the way he plays, he can't play like he used to. He's definitely gonna have to get rid of balls a lot quicker. He's gonna play more timid. He cannot go down again. He literally came out and said he already contemplated retiring. He's like 20, 25, 26 years old.
He's probably like he's probably like top 10 in MVP rankings though. Like future odds. He's probably top 10.
Yeah, I don't know.
But interesting. Good lists all around. Good lists all around, boys.
Yeah, I was gonna say that definitely is a hit. We'll definitely have to keep doing that week in and week out. So stay tuned for more of the NFL positional rankings we do in the coming weeks. We will jump things over to the NHL for a couple of brief points. Obviously, we saw the Vegas Golden Knights win the Stanley Cup a few weeks ago, being their first one, knocking them off of the list of the teams that have never won the Stanley Cup. We have a graphic here of the teams on this list. Who would you say is the team that will be the next to be removed from this list?
I think the easy answer is definitely Florida. They're there this year. They have the roster built for it. They're a few games away. They could definitely be back there. But 2 other picks that I think could definitely get there are the Ottawa Senators if they add the right pieces in the next 2, 3, maybe 4 years. And the Seattle Kraken. We saw it this year. They were a pretty big powerhouse this year.
Love that pick.
Beat the Avalanche in the first round. Proved they could be there. Phil Grubauer had a pretty good playoff run. Yeah, so I like that team as well. I think that they can go on a run in the playoffs in the next few years.
Yeah, Mackey, with that Seattle Kraken pick, I just want to touch on the Kraken first off before we even get into our picks. But the way that you can set yourself up as an expansion team, like you can plan out your next 5-10 year course. And you should be able to get into cup contention like right away in that window, in my opinion. The young team that's up and up, Matty Beniers like leading the way. Don't they have Shane Wright as well, or is that the Canadian? They do have Shane.
Yeah, they do. They do.
Even though he's a bust, but like, it's crazy. Like they have the young pieces, and you can mold your team perfectly. You're not really under any cap restrictions as a young team, so. I definitely like that Kraken pick right there. And they'd definitely be following the NHL script of expansion teams.
I have that same top 3, and another one coming out of the West that wouldn't surprise me is the Minnesota Wild. I feel like are always there in that division. That there's not too many great teams. That Central Division, the Wild are always sticking around in the first and second round of the playoffs. If they had a couple of pieces, I know last year they were talking about unloading guys like Greenway and like a lot of their depth pieces because I knew they could get a lot for them, but. I'd love to see the Wild make a run here, but that's just always a team that I never really had any, like the Penguins and Wild never really had any rivalry there in the West. Like that's always a team I thought was a pretty cool team to root for, and definitely one I'd root for. But Mackey, the 3 that you said are probably the 3 answers I'd go with, but the Wild would definitely be my 4th. If I had to pick 2 East, 2 West, it would be Florida, Ottawa, Minnesota, Seattle.
Kirill has like 7 points in 3 playoff series. He's not performing in the playoffs at all. And you having a star player like that, you need him to step up big time. And
they also don't have much around him yet. I feel like that team is like a bunch of depth. Like, yeah,
they're pretty good in the regular season, dude. They sit around 100 points year in, year out.
It's such a hard place to play. Like their fans get so into it. Like I feel like it's a really hard place to play in the NHL. Like no matter on any given night. Like I feel like Minnesota is not an easy place to go play.
On that list, they definitely deserve a cup the most. But Mackey, that's a great point about Kirill Kaprizov with the points because I never even would have thought of that. But one thing that makes me think he's pretty banged up towards the end of every season that he's played in the NHL so far. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think that team definitely deserves a cup the most out of everybody on the list. But hear me out.
I would say so too.
Hear me out on my takes. I think that the Kraken definitely, like, I'd look at that one. Mackey's right with the Panthers being the easy answer. But I think the teams like the Panthers, The Sharks and the Predators missed their window. They've been in the cup within the last 10 years and blew it. I think one team that
beat both.
You guys know what I'm going to say that we're both sleeping on, and maybe not this year, not
Buffalo
next year.
Sabres.
Yep, but a few years from now, that Buffalo Sabres team is growing. It's growing.
We're all looking at that logo, wanting to say it. We just none of us said it.
Tage Thompson,
I didn't even throw a fifth one in there. There's only so many teams on here. I was like, I'll throw the Wild in there to make it 2 East, 2 West, because I do think Ottawa's on the budding of like being a really good team because they have so many young pieces.
I thought so too, but that Ottawa just throws me off. Their goaltending and there's like ownership changes, defense, and then now did you guys see they want to move on from DeBrincat after just bringing him in after one season? That makes no sense to me. He's one of the best players on your team. I know you have guys up and down the lineup with youth, but you want to be relevant.
I feel like they could get a lot for him.
Why would they not keep that core together? They were towards the end of the season. They were in a playoff hunt. They were 2 points out with like 2 games to go.
Yeah, agreed.
They're right there. All they got to do is get into that wild card spot. We saw what the Panthers could do with it.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna go with the Sabres. I don't think any of these expansion teams win anytime soon, because I think that the Kraken and the Sabres window is 3 to 6 years from now. But I think Tage Thompson could definitely powerhouse this team on a run, especially when these Eastern powerhouses get older, I should say.
Yeah, you two are like ancient.
Yeah, right. That's all right, Mackey. Maybe you guys.
No, I don't want to hear about the Cubs. I don't want to hear about the Cubs.
I'm gonna say maybe you guys will be good in the playoffs when you're ancient. Because obviously the youth isn't doing too well.
We'll never be good.
Yeah, you just got to get the whole team to shave their heads like the bread man.
Dude, watch him come back with a ring on his finger now.
Okay. What's he going to get, a mood ring down at the dollar store? Vibes bad.
All right, and we will shift things over to the golf world real quick, where we had the U.S. Open this past week. We saw Wyndham Clark win the 2023 U.S. Open, which was his first career win on the PGA Tour this past weekend at Los Angeles Country Club. Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, Cam Smith, and Ricky Fowler rounded out the top 5. I know I was watching this. I didn't have a bet on it going into the weekend. I did end up live betting. Excuse me. I did end up live betting Wyndham Clark and Ricky Fowler on Sunday. I got Ricky, I think, right around, you're right, Rory. Sorry. I got Wyndham at plus 150 and Rory at plus 120. So I was just looking for some nice profit there, and they ended up being the top 2. Wyndham at plus 150 was a nice hit, but I didn't end up taking Rory. I did just initially take it, and then I kind of like second guessed it. I was like, fuck it, that's good value. I'm going to go back and do it. So glad I did. That was a great Sunday of golf. I don't know if you guys were watching it or if you were watching that Yankees-Red Sox game, but Mackey, I think you were watching it. Me and you were talking about it. Ace, were you watching the golf on Sunday?
I was watching it earlier, and then you're right. I literally watched Yankees-Red Sox doubleheader Sunday. I mean, that's pretty cool. Can't beat that in my opinion. But that golf tournament, definitely the U.S. Open went well. I was watching it early on. I had some long shots, light money on Scheffler and Cameron Smith, who ended up pretty high on the rankings, but they couldn't crack. I mean, Wyndham and Rory were like falling away the whole time, no?
Yeah, people had every reason to think that Wyndham Clark was going to blow it because, I mean, he's never won before. I know our buddy Sam that's been on here before to talk golf, he was saying, no, he texted me, no chance Wyndham Clark wins this thing. There's really good value on Rory and Ricky right now. And I literally was, 10 minutes before he texted me that, I'd already bet Wyndham Clark and Rory. And I was like, I like the guys sitting right there right now. And Ricky Fowler, he's been known to fade off on Sundays. And I didn't love Rory to win it because he chokes a lot too and did it again. But he was sitting right there. He was playing good golf. He just couldn't get a birdie on Sunday other than the first hole of his round on Sunday. But he was just playing par golf, and he needed to get one more as he lost by a stroke. I think Wyndham Clark was -10 and Rory was -9. So, but it was definitely a great U.S. Open. Obviously, there was people complaining about the ticket stuff with there wasn't that many people there because they sold half of the tickets to the members of the LA Country Club, and it's obviously like one of the richest country clubs in the world, sitting on like an $8 billion piece of land in the middle of Beverly Hills. But
what's crazy about that actually? They don't pay a lot of property tax. It's like a thing that they like grandfathered in. So they're paying like $220,000 for that entire course on property taxes.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, it's like they
And
found like a
they
glitch
said
in
it's
it,
worth
but
$8 billion where it's at.
yeah, they don't accept any famous people.
Yeah. If you have like press or paparazzi associated, do you like, no, we don't want your money.
You're not allowed to you're not allowed to take a phone call unless you're in the phone booth. If they have like one in the locker room or something, you can't take your phone out of your car or something like that. You can't take your shoes off in the parking lot. It's like you can't wear shorts. Insane the rules that they have here.
Yeah, I'll just go to the waste management one.
Yeah, when you can just throw beer everywhere when someone makes a nice shot.
We do got to go to that next year.
At least in the next few years. If you can't make it this year, I got to get over there.
Yeah, we got to do that. That'd be so much fun. And we will shift things back over to the NBA where we had a big time trade. The Washington Wizards have agreed to trade Bradley Beal to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, and multiple second round picks, and as well as pick swaps. Beal will join Kevin Durant and Devin Booker as the NBA's newest big three. I will hand things off over to Phoenix Suns' biggest fan, Michael Mackey. What do you think about Phoenix Suns coming into next year? Are they going to take down the defending champion, the Denver Nuggets? I can't talk.
Yeah, they have Dwight Howard and Jeremy Lin on their bench as well. How is this? How are they picking up this contract? They have like two $50 million contracts, and then
I heard they can only
more.
afford it for 1 year. Ace, was it you that said that?
Yeah, I believe with the new salaries coming out and the caps in the NBA, I don't think they'll be able to retain all three of their big three going into the next season. So I think it'd just be a 1 year thing.
I'm actually pretty excited for this. I want to see what they would do. I think that this is. I heard about Beal going to Miami, and I didn't think it was going to be enough down there. I think it would just be another scoring piece when they kind of just need an all around player. But this is a very good addition for the Phoenix Suns. I think he fits pretty well. This is exactly what they need. They need another piece like that. But it's going to be interesting to see the depth and the role players outside of these four and the ball distribution. Beal wants the ball in his hands, and you have Devin Booker and Kevin Durant on the team, along with DeAndre Ayton. There's only one ball to go around, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this team. But obviously, the star power is there. They could go far. I think it's another type of Brooklyn Nets situation. They might win a few rounds, but I don't see this working out for the Phoenix Suns.
I think it's going to work out pretty well. I still project them to finish in the top 2 or 3, probably 2 in the West next year in the regular season. I agree with Max. There's not enough basketballs to go around, but when you have Beal, Booker, and Durant on the court with Ayton, and then they have a good bench as well, I mean, that team is going to put up wins, and they're going to put up a lot of buckets night in and night out. So
what? No, they have like the worst bench in the league.
Well, they have some good depth around it. They got to move on from it. I thought they had some good pieces. Let me pull it up.
They literally, when they got Kevin Durant, they had to get rid of basically their entire bench, which is why they, in my opinion, didn't go deep in the playoffs. And now you're getting Bradley Beal, so it's just giving you less money to give away to your role players. They have to be signing like league minimums for at least like 3 or 4 of their guys.
Well, Mackey, do they still have Cam Johnson?
Or
was he a part of that trade?
I think he was a part of the trade.
Oh yeah, he was. Malik or McCall Bridges. What's his face just left too. Cameron. Who just? Landry Shamet just left too.
Yeah, he was a part of this trade. But yeah, I'm not big on Phoenix. I mean, obviously,
I got it right here. I got it right here. They have guys like
Jay Crowder maybe,
Landry Shamet, Bezmek, Bambo.
No, they just got rid of
Campaign.
They don't even have Shamet anymore. So they have Bismack Biyombo, Campaign,
TJ Warren.
TJ Warren was a demon in the bubble.
Torrey Craig.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. You like this, like when you don't have
backing up your point.
No, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You got me there, but I do think it will attract guys to sign at those league minimums, kind of like Dwight Howard going to the Lakers. I still project them to finish.
You know, they'll make moves at the deadline.
They're still going to finish top 2 in the West next year. You can clip that.
If they all play consistently, we've seen these types of teams. A lot of players take off. Load management is a hobby in the NBA.
Do you think they're a better team with Bradley Beal than they were in these playoffs?
Yes, 1,000%.
Yeah, so I think they shoot up the rankings further than they were last year. But Good move out west. I still project them to be in the hunt with the Nuggets and the Lakers. A few other teams out there like the Kings, Warriors, and Grizzlies.
And here we go. We'll move back to the East with the Wizards. Kyle Kuzma declined his $13 million player option with the Wizards. Where could the former Laker end up as NBA's free agency looks to be hot this summer? Obviously, Kuzma, I don't know, how good of a year did he have last year? The Wizards were just so bad. I was never watching Wizards games, so I don't know much about him. We'll get into this Porzingis trade in a little bit. I don't know too much about Kuzma and Porzingis.
I feel like Kuzma's very lucky the way that he came into the league with Lonzo and the publicity and just kind of making his name a lot more known than it should be. But Kuzma, he's not.
He's gonna get overpaid by somebody.
Just because of, I don't know, man. I mean, he's not a very good basketball player. I'm not high on Kyle Kuzma at all. He's kind of went dormant. I've heard maybe 3 words of Kyle Kuzma since he's left the Lakers. He's just, I don't know. I feel like he's only relevant because of those first 2 seasons.
If he knew how to take a pay cut, he'd be a good piece on that Suns team.
I don't even like him as a piece in that Suns team, to be honest.
I mean, that's a good point. If he wanted to play a bench role, yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't. He'll go play for a bad team. Another guy that's interesting to talk about, Huff, I think we got a next point coming about Colin Sexton, another young rising star.
Yeah, the Utah Jazz have made budding NBA star Colin Sexton available via trade. Do you think the market is open for this sniping guard?
I think there is. I think someone like the Celtics, we're going to get into that Porzingis trade. You lose someone like Brogdon. What if you brought in someone like Sexton?
I would like that. I would really like that. You say that's a really good fit for him in Boston. It depends what you have to give up for him, though.
2 completely different play styles, but I do like that move. Brogdon wasn't really the move for that offense.
No.
Bring Colin Sexton in a flashy little pitbull, I guess you can call him, especially on the defensive side. I like that play.
Nice outside.
I like Colin
nice
Sexton
outside jumper too. He would fit well on a team like the Lakers as well. A team that wants to win right now, that needs another guy who can get buckets on his own when your top guys aren't on the floor. That would be a good piece to go after. Probably wouldn't take as many assets as you'd think either. I
don't think he's worth a lot right now, to be honest. I think he's worth a lot less than what he should be.
Big buy low candidate for sure.
Definitely.
And we already kind of touched on this one. The Boston Celtics are working on a deal to acquire Kristaps Porzingis from the Wizards in a 3-team trade. The trade would send Malcolm Brogdon, guard, to the Clippers.
How do you
feel about this?
From what it seems like, it's basically done.
Yeah, I've heard.
It's pretty much.
I love that. I mean, Porzingis. You tell me a few years ago, the Celtics were going to add him, and for not that giving up that much, it's pretty crazy. But they could have used another big forward who can shoot as well and get buckets. That would have helped a lot. And you see guys like Grant Williams out there in crunch time. Get that guy off the floor. Give me Kristaps Porzingis every time. And like we were saying with Malcolm Brogdon,
that's a good point.
Malcolm Brogdon, he's a good player, definitely. But I think his value is higher than it should be right now. And he's not as great of a fit for that Celtics offense as a sniper, a pitbull, like Mackey was saying, someone like Colin Sexton, a guy who can shoot from the outside that would fit that Celtics needs better than Brogdon. So I think this is just a great move. Upgrade your front court, and hopefully they can find someone else. And I think they're going to be pretty aggressive this offseason, the Celtics. I think Jaylen Brown stays.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to ask you about that he's in talks of leaving right now.
Yeah, he's always in talks of leaving, though, huh? Every year.
No, but I think with this 3-team trade, he could be involved.
I don't think he'd be involved. The haul would be much bigger.
I don't know. We'll see. It'd be cool to see him stick around.
Yeah.
See if they can do it one more time.
But, am I wrong, though? Why is Grant Williams playing big minutes in, fourth quarter playoff games? What? Give me Kristaps Porzingis, dude.
My favorite Grant Williams moment of all time is when he said, I'm going to hit both of them. And then he missed both the free throws.
Yeah, that was two years ago. That was the first time they played the Heat in Game 7 with this team, I think.
He said, I'm going to hit both of them, and then he bricked them both.
Yeah.
How do you do that? You're in the NBA, bro. Hit a free throw.
He also woke up a sleeping giant or sleeping beast with Jimmy Butler in the most recent series, so definitely.
Yeah, Grant, you're not the one on the Celtics to be starting shit with Jimmy Butler. Like, what are you doing? You single-handedly lost that series.
Yeah, but no, I like this move by the Celtics. I like the way they're going. Shake up the roster a bit while keep your core pieces intact. Exactly how I would do it. So, got to see how this summer plays out, though. Like I said, they're going to be aggressive and change up that roster enough as they think this is their window.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll definitely touch on that in the coming weeks. I think that is going to do it for us, though. Do you guys got anything else?
No, definitely check out our daily cards. Mackey's posting our records the other day. I think we were plus 6 units. So, like we said, we've been on fire. We've got the MLB news. We're going to give you winning picks and look for some good ones to close out this week.
Absolutely. And as always, thanks for listening. Follow us everywhere on social medias. We'll see you guys next week.